Welcome to the Research Forum of English Department. Today, we will listen to Annroopa Jacob, a really enthusiastic person who has presented and published papers in Indian mythologies, fairy tales, and gender. At present, she is the Assistant Professor of English in Little Flower College, Guruvayur. In our session, she's going to talk about the other virtual public sphere. It is an interrogation into the selected gender movements mobilized through new media in India post 2012. Her pivotal point is how the virtual public sphere became an alternative public sphere for the gender marginalized people and results in multiple fractions, collective leadership, and dissent. I hope this will be an interesting presentation. Over to you, Annroopa. Thank you.
Thank you, Nasreen, and thank you, Janaki ma'am and other faculties. I'll directly come into the topic. So as Nasreen said, I'm presently working at Little Flower College, Guruvayur. So today I'll be giving an introduction. Actually, it's not a detailed analysis or an in-depth like interrogation and all. It's just a surface level or a beginner level understanding of a medium, a new medium, and how movements are mobilized through it. So I would like to make this an interactive session, like after explaining a few technical terms, and you can give your viewpoints also. So before that, I'll just share my slide. I hope it's visible. Am I audible? And is the slide visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So giving an introduction about the topic that I chose. So as you know, now all of us, every day we wake up, we check Facebook, we check Instagram, and we open WhatsApp, and we are presently living in the world of new media. So earlier, from that leisurely reading of Russian novels like Tolstoy or Dostoevsky, so now we are coming to an age where students or ourselves, like we are confined to that 30 seconds of reel. So it is very quick. Technology is being updated every day. New versions are coming. So along with that, there are a lot of changes happening in our political sphere and in our public sphere, to be exactly, in our public sphere, in a society around us. So I'm confining my topic to a few moments, and specifically gender moments. And I would like to bring a few concepts or define few concepts. First of all, beginning with new media. So what do you mean by new media? And in that, what about the different types of media and social media? And social media is actually very powerful, and we have already heard and analyzed about how Jasmine Revolution changed the entire Eastern world. And also we'll see about the public sphere. So public sphere, actually it was a concept by Habermas, and actually it was his contribution was about the rise of bourgeoisie society, a public sphere, and also the disintegration. But then we have that concept of public sphere and opinion making, and presently how social media acts as a kind of virtual public sphere. And also this is the age of new social movements. That's what we say, NSM. So we have a lot of movements, and we have a lot of theories based on that also. So what we call as NSM theories. And we do have a few movements which were mobilized through social media and which became very powerful, and which even influenced the policy making of government, as did the public sphere during the 18th, 17th centuries. So let me begin with new media. So this word media, it was the media, it is revolutionary because it always brought change in communication technology in our world. So as we all know, traditional media, it included newspaper, television or films, journals, magazines. And something was added to this word media, new. So this new added to this word media, and this is the cutting edge of media revolution. So that is as per the present standards. It is dynamic. It will change soon, and we cannot say that this arrival of internet and internet itself, the speed is very important. So presently we are talking about 4G and 5G and the further development of technology, and it actually caused a paradigm shift, especially like in new media, that is in the mode, medium, methodology, everything changed. So what is this new media? And going for an official definition of new media, according to Cambridge English Dictionary, so new media, it is referred to as the products and services that provide information or entertainment using computers or internet and not by traditional methods such as television and newspapers. So the key word here is internet. So those services or those informations facilitated by computers or internet, it comes under new media. So even Gmail or anything in digital format. So we can't always insist on this word internet. So anything in digital media also falls under this term new media. So this term, the internet, it is a key word, and other defining words. We can say avant-garde, as we all know, avant-garde is always something new. We can talk about these being digital and interactive. So traditional media, as we all know, it had this problem of the restriction of interactions. But like new media, this is immense, or it has got immense scope, and it is hypertextual, it is virtual, and it is also networked. And what we know, or as we all know, new media, it is more inclusive compared to traditional medias. See, the scope of traditional medias, it is very limited, and the audience compared to new media, it's not that people watching TV are the number is low. It's not like that. But then compared to new media is a far more lot inclusive. So this newspaper or this television, they all had this limitation of being spontaneous interactive platform. But now we can watch news, we can comment under that. So the scope of feedback, it was limited earlier, but now it is immediate. It is like we can although there is an option to turn off comments, but then most of the news channels, they provide this opportunity. Not only news channels, all the online platforms or medias, whatever that is, so they provide an opportunity for immediate feedback. And earlier, we know that the traditional media, it was not accessible to particular groups. That is, people did not have enough money to buy a television. Like, it was all limited. But then, like coming to new media, like this is more inclusive, and it is also very cheap, and it is easily accessible. Easily accessible in the means it is accessible for anyone with a device, a mobile device with internet connectivity. So that is what we understand about new media. So let me highlight once again. So it is inclusive, and also it is cheap, it is available, and it is also very quick. So speed is also very important. And we know that it is a computer mediated technology. That is what we said. So all these terms are very, very important when we talk about new media. And what are the different aspects of new media? So as we just said, so this new media is a very vast topic. There are many terms that, or there are many concepts that will come under this. But then specifically, what are the different aspects of new media? And again, this is also limited. New media is computer media. I mean, my discussion, I'm limiting it because as it is a big topic, and we need to find our borders. So this begins with email. Okay, so that was the first form as we knew. And it also includes blogs, websites, online portals, chat rooms, all voice based transmissions, mobile, and not only that, It also includes media text. So we do have hypertext formats like that we see. So hypertext formats, we see that in CD, DVD, podcast, and all. And this is the age of AI, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality. So presently we are talking about all these VR, AR, and all. And not only that, computer games, visual effects, special effects in cinema, and we do have a lot of simulations also. So now there are a wide variety of genres. Like we do have an elaborate textual forms. So all these are classified under different aspects of new media. So now specifically we do have some aspects. So one is new textual experiences. So I took this from Martin Lister's New Media, A Critical Introduction. And when we talk about new textual experiences, it means like there are different types of genres and there are different types of textual forms. It's like computer games, okay, special effects cinema, and new media offers a new way of representing world in the sense that is that is when we talk about VR or screen based interactive activities and all. So these medias or new way of representing world, we can't define it very clearly, but it is about the possibility and experiences of different kinds, as I said, VR and all. And new media also, they brought a new relationship between users, consumers, and media technology. So now, like there are different kinds of perceptions, and every day media technology is evolving, it is developing. And then we do have like new conceptions in biological bodies, relationship to technological media. So that is about artificial intelligence. So we have to differentiate between the real, the virtual. So all these are terms under new media. And these are computer mediated, as we said. And virtual reality, it is something that we'll see in the coming days. So it is dynamic, and it is experimenting. So all these are defining features of new media. So what we know is that social media, we can call it as a subset of new media. Social media, we are very familiar with it. We are everyday users of social media. So Facebook or WhatsApp, Instagram, all these come under social media. So social media, social networking on social media websites. So it also requires internet connectivity. So that's how it is classified under this new media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and a lot more. And we can share photos, we can share our opinions, videos, informations, we can organize events, we can chat, online games, and presently, like we can have discussions or a watch party. So every day we have new features coming in the new media. So if that's what we said, new media, like this is the age of updations. Every day a phone is being updated, apps are being updated, features are being updated. And according to that, like our interactions, it's also changing. So that is how social media is affecting our daily life. So social media, it was basically for human communication. Like we need more participation, conversation. We need to connect with each other. So what happened was that, like initially, people wanted to find what their friends do or where their friends are and wanted to remain connected. But then it became a social platform. So private individuals, they became sources of information. They shared their opinions, they shared their insights, they shared their experiences. So now, like this live option in social media, it was again revolutionary. So people were able to show something or something of social importance, like that. So that's what, like, once again, I'm reiterating on that point of updation. So every day we are saying, so accordingly, we see no new options for discussions and all. Now I have to talk about this concept of public sphere. Now, the idea of public sphere, most of you might be aware of it, but then for those of you who do not know about it, so this was a term by Habermas, who was a sociologist. And according to Habermas, this is a domain of social life. So this is a domain of social life where we can form public opinions. We do have institutions, we do have practices, and also private interests of everyday life in civil society. So this term civil society, government, authority, all these are key terms under public sphere. Actually, it consisted of organs of informations also. Organs of informations in the sense political debates are very important, newspapers are important, journals are important. And Habermas, he discussed about bourgeoisie public sphere. So, in simple terms, or defining in layman's terms, in public sphere, people came together in coffee shops, in beauty salons, and they engaged in rational, critical debates, and it served as a check on government. So we like what we know is that our canteens or our coffee shops. Like all of them are very important places where people discuss politics, people discuss ideologies, and so, in the similar way, so what Habermas identified was that these places where people come together, this served as a check on government and it became a basis of government's policy making. And according to Habermas, this idea of public sphere it disintegrated in the 19th century, but then this concept was studied and later reformulated by several other critics. And there is a concept of alternate public sphere. So this concept of alternate public sphere, it was put forward by Nancy Fraser. So Habermas, he included all these spaces, public sphere, where people come together, where they have coffee shops, or where they discuss about literature or politics or parliament. But then, like certain groups were excluded from that just because of this patriarchal society of that time. So during those times, mainly it was a patriarchal society, as we all know. So certain groups were excluded from this discussion. So when Nancy Fraser talked about the alternate public sphere, she wanted to include marginalized voices or people who did not have a place in the public sphere during that time. And public sphere, by definition, it was inclusive, but then this entry into this place, it was like it depended upon various other variables also, like education, one's education, qualification as property owner. So everyone did not have access to these places. And Nancy Fraser, she proposed this concept of alternate public sphere. So here we have the space or space marginalized voices, not only women. So there are many others too. So marginalization is a big word. So like I would like to focus on this concept or this word women. So even women can raise their voice, like or be part of it. So now I would like to bring this concept of fourth wave feminism also. So fourth wave feminism mainly focuses on like internet facilitated activities, and where or not and but where women they use media, blogs, okay, social media, new media, everything to share their experiences, to share their concerns, and to assert themselves. So this concept of alternate public sphere is also very important. And now connecting both the terms, social media and the concept of public sphere. So we can say that presently social media functions as a new virtual public sphere. So what we understand is that new media and especially social media, it has high potential in web-based technology. It has influenced historical revolutions. I think I mentioned about Jasmine Revolution. And presently, it serves as an alternate public sphere for several marginalized groups. And the major, or we have to talk about new social movements also. So when we talk about new social movements, we have to understand its difference from the earlier form. So we know about different social movements, we know about different working class movements. So they were organized, the working class movements, especially those after the revolutions, they were organized. They had a leader, they had an agenda, and those movements were slow movements, but then they were very organized, and they had an agenda, and and they came together again and again. So they did not come for one particular cause and then got disintegrated, but then they had one particular purpose, and the organization was more important, and the organizations took up different social issues, and it had a system, so it worked systematically. So that's what we saw in the working class movements, rights, and all. But then when we look at the new social movements, so this particular medium or social media, it is a vibrant, quick, active medium to mobilize people. But then what happens is that, or what we see is that all these movements are very rapid, very quick, very not dynamic, very vibrant and all. But then we do not see a particular leader, or we do not have much leaders. We'll have someone who will initiate it, but then there is no face as a very strong leader for the movement. And we do not have very well defined objectives. Yes, they do talk about the purpose of the movement, but then after that we see that, like, we don't have that particular organization existing for a long time as the previous movements, not the new social movements, but like as the previous organizations did. So there is a big difference. New social movements, they are just like we can say that they're like mushrooms. Like mushrooms, they immediately they just sprout, and then we don't see them. So we see that in new social movements also. They lack organizations, but then they achieve something. They really act as a check on government. So virtual public sphere, and another thing is that, like, anyone, that's what we said earlier, anyone with an internet connection and with a device, like even our mobile, can be part of this new public sphere. So this is a classless, heterogeneous, decentered, postmodern, alternate public sphere. So when we talk about this word gender, it is very complicated in the sense we can't confine anything. It is very like fluid, it is very lucid, it is very complicated, contradicting, and all. So it is difficult to compartmentalize and classify. But then, as I have a reservation while talking about LGBTQ, because it is a question whether we can club all the differences or all these aspects under one term, because all these are different, and it needs more studies, and it needs more academic not classification, but it needs more academic acceptance. So it is presently like dynamic. But then with the available terms, what I can say is that this public sphere, it becomes a classless, heterogeneous, descended, postmodern alternate public sphere for the gender cure, women, and feminists. So the thing is that, like as I said, anyone with, I told these terms, anyone with internet connectivity, like we don't have any like restrictions. So presently our IT rules are being revised, and more restrictions are coming still. So there is a scope for like collective leadership. So we don't see one leader. We see there is a call for one movement, and there are leaders in every cities, and they organize it everywhere. So that is what we see. So collective leadership and dissent. And new social movements, they make use of media and networks for mobilization, especially to democratize the civil space in different political dimensions. So talking about this, we know about Anna Hazare and the movements. Like, I'm not here to judge about the movements, but I'm just looking at how, like, the social media was a powerful tool in, like, even making important government policies. So Anna Hazare's movement, so it became very popular through social media, and we saw a major change. And this year, now I am restricting my topic to gender movements. Gender movements means I'm not going into in-depth analysis, but I would like to mention a few movements and how they became very important, or not only very important, how they inspired many others to speak. So, it's me. A few moments. Few moments. I mentioned this year 2012. And this 2012, this was very, very important. Now, why is this year 2012 important? As we all know, like we are aware of the Nirbhaya moment. So, we see the number of reported rape case increasing, and we see a difference in terminologies also. Like now we use the term survivor. We have more cases surfacing. It's not that we did not have rape cases earlier, but now the number of cases being reported, it's increasing. So contemporary gender rights movement in India, they raised the issue of the increased number of rapes, moral policing, sexual abuses at home, workplace, inequalities, the stigma on sexual and gender minorities. And this year, 2012, it witnessed unprecedented protest movements all over India. So, like in this year, a 23-year-old girl who media called Nirbhaya, she was gang raped. She was fatally assaulted in a private base in South Delhi. So all these are details that we know. And she died at hospital. Hundreds of people marched to different places. Like we saw candlelight marches. We saw people, or especially youth, raising voices. And the police and the government, they really had a tough time. So these movements, where hundreds of people marched to different places in different cities, they were mobilized through the social media. And this actually marked the beginning of series of movements in India mobilized through social media. And we know what happened after that. So, talking about the Nirbhaya issue, yes, like the general Indian public, they were overwhelming. People were very angry. Like people wanted to protest against that, and they came together for a justice. So we see these violence and discrimination on a basis of or these cases being reported every day. But then, this was the first time that a gender movement in India of this scale, that is like hundreds of people in different cities, was seen for the first time. So the one major reason was the extensive use of ICT, like mobile phones, social media. And mobile phones on social media means the organization, the mobilization, the dissemination of information. So all this will become important. It will become easier and important. So just one message or one particular group for one purpose. So there is an organization, like you inform the time, you inform the place, and all the informations, relevant informations, cause, all these are given. And also they can actually uh, uh, create, or there is an emotion also involved in this. And people already, they were like very angry. So we saw this outpour of anger on streets and also online. So the movement on streets and media and in these platforms, it's different. But again, people were expressing their angst and anger in this. So presently, there are different studies where we see a difference between the actual protest, on the streets and online. But yet, we did have a mass movement in the media. So people, they had reached their breaking points, they wanted change. And here ICT, or here social media, it became an important tool, not only for organizing protest activities, but then very valuable conversations on gender violence and justice began with this. So after that, we are talking about political correctness, we are talking about terms, we are talking about domestic violence. So social media, like even before that, people used to discuss. But after this, the visibility of these discussions just increased. And also the result, what is the result, that is also important. So in Habermas publics, where we saw that actually the opinion of people, they became crucial in government policies. We saw that after Nirbhaya case, instant actions were being taken by the government, like criminal laws were being reformulated, so there were certain amendments, so there were bills passed. So all these were there. And in order to understand these movements completely, yes, as I said, this is a dynamic topic, and certain things will change, certain things will become outdated. But then what we see as common is that there is a collective action. We do see a mobilization structure. There are political opportunities. So social media after that, so not after that, even before that, people knew the power of social media. But then political parties are using social media for their purpose, in the sense, definitely we call this as an age of post truth. So that is how people use opportunities, that is there. But then after this Nirbhaya case, in the online media, people began discussing about Indian society, like about sexual harassments. We see a series of confession pages, not only confession pages, where people talk about the sexual abuses they had. Yes, we have to talk about like Me Too movements, definitely. But then mainstream media and social media both began discussing about it. And definitely, like earlier, even when we talk about domestic violence, patriarchy, family structures, law reforms, like we had restrictions, because this was restricted among a particular group, or maybe an academia, or certain social spaces. But then social media is being used by a large number of people, like common people in the sense we use, like everyone, all of us use media. And definitely these discussions about patriarchy, or about gender, or whatever changes that we need for the society to be better, that is being discussed in media, and it is reaching to all levels, or to all levels of people. So the range of change is more. So India, previously, they had not witnessed such open conversations about gender on a public platform in the sense like social media. So social media at a time, it's private as well as it's public. So people began discussing about the sensitive topics on a public as well as personal levels. And then we have to talk about a series of justice for hashtag movements. So always we hope that we do not like to see this justice for movements happening again and again. But then that is what is happening. So this justice for is becoming though this term trending is problematic, but then trending in the sense, at least they have a visibility and people are taking up topics. So we see a large number of topics being discussed, justice for hashtags. So in the year 2016, so this is an incident that we know. A law student was found dead. She was found dead, brutally raped in Perumbavoor. And this hashtag movements, it became very popular in Twitter and Facebook. It's not that people just shared with a hashtag, but then a lot of women groups, students, organizations, human rights groups, they took up the case and they initiated mass movements. So when there is a mass movement, definitely there is a pressure on authorities to ensure immediate investigation and prevent this in future. So what we saw is that this movement was taken up and the culprit was sentenced to death with lifelong imprisonment. And then we saw another case. So these are just a few cases amongst many justice for movements. Kathua rape case of January 2018. An 8-year-old girl belonging to Bakarwal community, she was ruthlessly raped, killed, and it ignited nationwide protest. And people were together in that, and definitely this was a pressure for the government. So after that, not after that, but with this justice for movement, it became very popular, and this was an effective mobilization also. So as you are aware, when we look for something with hashtag, all the movements related to that will appear. So now we have a kind of like, okay, we are doing something or adding something to a larger movement. So after that, so these hashtag movements became a widespread tool for effective mobilization against different rape cases. And there was another hashtag movement, like this happened in 2017, and this was popularly called as I Will Go Out movement. So these are from the protest movements, or these pictures are from the hashtag movements that happened in India. And this particular moment, I will go out moment. So this happened in 2017. So what happened was that mass molestation of women were reported after a New Year party at Bangalore. That was in the year 2017. And after this, certain comments were made by certain prominent people that women should not go out, or the modesty of dressing again in coats. So all these were questioned, and against this, I Will Go Out campaign was launched in major cities. So, in more than 30 cities, this movement happened, and women marched, and they were demanding equal accessibility of public places for women. So the defense again in quotes was that I will go out campaign. That's what I said. What prominent parties or prominent people and authorities, they blame the women for being out in that odd time. So this was like very important in the sense, like they had to reclaim their spaces. And definitely they did it at night. And even now we have different forms, like where there was like after a few years in Mumbai, there was this movement, not a movement, just small movement, where 22 women, they went under a tree with yoga mats, like in a park, and they just laid down. So we have something stigmatic associations with all these. So people are afraid to do so. But then this was a new thing for people around. So we have different versions of this I will go out movement presently. And we have to talk about WCC. So WCC, like I'm not going into deep into like the rights and wrongs or a judgment as such, but then we have this like movement of WCC, or why this came, or this was the first time at least an organization was there, an organization effectively intervened in the issues in the film. So in May 2017, WCC, or Women in Cinema Collective, it was formed in Malayalam industry. So this was formed by a group of creative women. We know all these. So this was to address different gender issues within sector. So this the immediate cause was a sexual harassment was reported by a co-actress, and like year by after each year we see more and more support being offered to the survivor, and we see how the survivor asserted her identity or herself in this. So this happened over years, not in 1 year. So after 2017 we see 2018, 19, 20, and presently we have a lot more people like offering their support. Now, another important movement is the Me Too movement. So, as we have heard about it, and probably like most of us were part of it. We're part of it in the sense when we offer, or when we not offer, but or when we like post Me Too with the hashtag, we are also being part of that movement. So Me Too movement, now this was a major chapter in fourth wave feminism. So earlier I mentioned about fourth wave feminism and how internet or blogs or like anything, in anything in digital form is important. So fourth wave is associated with the digital space for women in media. So Me Too movement, this was a major chapter in fourth wave feminism. It occurred in Bollywood and it had its waves in India, especially Bollywood, and also other film industries, journalism, and all. So this was about collective sharing also. So many people, they just shared their traumatic experience of sexual abuse. So when one shared about that, women connected with women. That is what happened. So definitely, like there might be misuses, but I'm talking about how women were able to connect with women under this hashtag. So this in India was initiated in 2018. So like there was an accusation against Padekar for his inappropriate behavior on a film set, and after that, a list of females came forward. They discussed about sexual assault incidents that happened. So all of them were very personalities, and all of them definitely had like a powerful position. And we saw resignations, we saw discussions. So women started sharing their painful stories, and not only that, they shared about molestation, sexual harassment earlier, like definitely, not only earlier, even like today, people, or especially women, they have or they hesitate to report sexual assault or a molestation experience or harassment, because they feel that they might be stigmatized. Maybe there are changes happening in one particular like sector or in the academia we are discussing, but again, coming to the grassroots level or coming to the families, not all the families approve the reporting, and like they often they are not willing to take up the after effects in the sense they have to go through actually undergo a major trial itself. And definitely the new media, like I have only focused on, like when I use this word gender, I was again focusing on women itself. And new media, we cannot deny the role that new media had in dissolving the stigma against this LGBT community. Again, I have this confusion about using this LGBTQ like totally, but then like it is again like it is like under progress, that's what we say. So when the Supreme Court decriminalized Article 377, what we saw is that popular bands or popular brands, they express their solidarity to the verdict through social media. So we do have filters where people change it, and advertisements, they're no more reluctant to depict transgender characters or transgender characters with dignity and integrity. So when we talk about gender, we have to talk about these. Earlier, we cannot say that transgenders were not represented in movies, but like in the mainstream Bollywood movies, either they were matter of ridicule, like they'll sing songs, they'll collect battai, they'll run around dancing, or in parallel movies, art movies, they were represented where like endless suffering, like always endless suffering, marginalization. Although that was one reality, they were not depicted with their dignity and integrity. So presently, we see themselves asserting their dignity and integrity. This does not mean that there is no stigma or there are no issues. There are a lot more issues, but this is just a small move. But then what we can say is that the new media, it is definitely, they are being a major platform, definitely for the sexual minorities, gender minorities, they are able to assert their essential identity. So when we see all these, what we see is that, or what we understand is that, definitely people are beginning to think. So earlier, maybe 10 years back, definitely people in the sense, again, people includes us and them. All these are problematic terms. But the transgender or transphobia was popular, not popular. Transphobia was a lot more among people. But now, because like we have discussions, because we have new media, that stigma, or now we have more understanding, or we are trying to understand them as a person. So inclusivity, this concept of inclusivity, we can call it here. And definitely, I have not touched the negative side of new media or social media. Definitely, this concept of truth is a problem, fake news is a problem. So I have not addressed those issues. I have just addressed this particular aspect, where this is a very potential opportunity or tool for mobilizing people. Okay, not only for mobilizing people, for changing opinions, or to have an impact on the government in policy making. Again, the limitation is that after that particular purpose, so after, like, if we are asked a name, if we are asked the name of the leader of the justice hashtag movements, we don't know, or will not be able to say. Or if we asked who initiated Nirbhaya movement or candlelight marches, we'll not be able to say. But then there are like moments where people became important, or we have icons, but these moments were short-lived. But again, like, there are opportunities, so it is easy to organize a movement. It is like we have more opportunity to voice ourselves, or to like mark our protest, our opinion, and all. So this is what I intended to say. That is, social media, like, it is highly potential, like mobilizing movements to assert rights and all. So this discussion, again, this is not a topic that I can conclude. So there are different opinions, there are different uh, oppositions also, and there are much more things that we have to see, like today onwards, not today onwards, like this hour onwards. Okay. So with that, I would like to wind up my introduction to this particular topic.
Thank you, Annroopa. Thank you so much. It was a very wonderful presentation and very informative one too. And so, anybody, please come with your opinions, suggestions, questions, or comments, or positions, as you said. Please. Okay, I think I'll start with something. The whole point you were, the whole talk is circling about around this new media or this alternative space or sphere. But I find something else. I find a big gap or space where men are represented, the representation of men in it. Here, the whole idea takes or put men in the side of opposition, or the side of culprit. So what do you think about that? Because, and I also would like to add about this one, Men Too movement, which came along with Me Too movement. And we know that there are people who really misuse all those reservations, all those consideration, all those things that we have gained, or we have given, or we have attained through the struggles. But there are people who really misused and used men as a tool for certain manipulations. So, can you comment on that? On that?
Yeah, I think I mentioned in between my presentations that, like, it's being misused every day, everywhere. We have this concept, not this concept, this issue of misuse. Like, yes, definitely, you are right. Like, I did not mean to put men on the opposition side. I was just focusing on, like, gender rights, and under, not only gender rights. Again, gender rights is a bigger term. So I was just focusing on women movements, and by women movements, I said that comparatively, this is about comparison, not only comparison. We cannot completely say that women are treated equally, and also it is on that basis that I was focusing on that. So I was not putting putting that under that on the opposite side. Like I was not being this, I was not focusing on this binary session. But as you said, yes, it is being misused. So this fame is one important thing. Revenge, the personal interest, revenge is there. So there is this question of consent. So presently we have a lot of discussions where, like, there are accusations or accusations against men after after some relationship of mutual consent or sexual relationship with mutual consent, and later they turn into me too. So all these are issues that are to be addressed. It happens, but then it doesn't undermine the importance of Me Too movements or traumatic experiences that we had. The only way is to have a non-biased or non-partial analysis, not only analysis, investigation of the issue. So definitely there are issues of men also, that I have not taken that topic under that. I'm not, again, I am not telling that there are no issues for men, but this is what I focus: issues of women. Because what I feel, this is my personal opinion, what I feel is that India is still a patriarchal society, or India still holds those stigmas, those issues. Again, this is again very subtle, because this operates among different levels. Suppose I can sit and talk about my rights here, but then there are friends or there are people, like, who do not have a voice, or who do not have choices over their marriage, or who still suffers from domestic violence. Like, I have friends who share about, like, these stories or everyday experiences they have at home, and we talk about Vismaya later. But then after, like, when something happens like Vismaya, we talk about parents not leaving an option for their girls to come back. But then this is a problem of India being still a patriarchal societies. There are a lot of rights, like, we have a lot of rights, but then there are a lot more. Like, these are not only issues that women face, but then there are others also. But again, like, when I go to this topic of marginalization, or this topic of people lack rights, there are a lot many that I should address. But about this misuse, yes, I do not deny that it's not being misused. It's being misused. It's being misled. Then there are cases of personal interest. There are cases of aims. All these come under that. As I said, like, only a non-partial, non-biased investigation into the topic can reveal that. So it is very difficult to differentiate between these false truth. So that's why I problematize this concept of post-truth in this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, anybody else?
Hello, am I
Yes,
audible?
yes, you are audible.
First of all, thank you, ma'am, for giving a talk on such an immensely relevant topic. I do have a question actually. Since most of these platforms are owned by giant corporate
Excuse me,
tycoons.
I'm sorry about the bell. Excuse me. Just okay, you can
Okay,
continue.
okay. Okay, so most of these platforms are actually owned by corporate tycoons. And if that is the case, won't these digital movements ultimately depend upon the idea of free speech defined by these companies, to the extent to which they are kind of ready to allow free speech? Like we had these experiments done in Facebook, with the permission of the owners, trying to manipulate the users using violent news stuff and things like that. So I guess my question is, how do you think this particular drawback of digital movements, or these platforms, would affect or shape these new movements?
So this is a very relevant topic. So, as you might have heard about the discussion about how Donald Trump, like, won elections, and how social media was influenced, or this case about how this opinion or social media influence the opinion. So you know that definitely there's a kind of manipulation. So if you have seen this, like all these takes this route from social media itself. So one side, yes, it is a tool of, or it is an opportunity, but on the other hand, yes, there are chances. Now there are chances, it's, I can say that there are chances, but then yes, there are manipulations that that we see in media. So if we have seen the social dilemma, we know, we understand how, like, these corporates, they do have all our details or everything that we do. So we know, or like we search something in Amazon or Flipkart, and we see that same thing in Facebook, and then all our feeds or the all the ads we see will be associated with it. And not only that, yes, definitely, like recently there was this case of Cambridge Analytica, all these are there. So what all these show is that definitely there are manipulations, and we cannot deny the possibility. Not, we cannot deny them. Yes, we are seeing these manipulations, because when we like something or when we press this like button, then the news feeds that we see will be related with that. So this is a kind of algorithm, or this is a kind of function that they use, and definitely our opinions will change accordingly. So this is not based on research or something, but this is based on conversations that like a few of us had, or we were talking about how, like in homes, or how in their homes earlier they were not talking so much about like religion, or being united, or our community should be united, such things earlier did not talk about that. Or presently they hear more discussions about our rights, or the need for our community to be united. So this is actually like, I don't know whether to say drawback. I would say, that is my personal opinion, I would say this is a drawback of social media. Yes, there can be manipulations, like we should watch for the corporate things being manipulated, and there are bigger things happening every day. It's just that we don't know what is happening around us. So yes, I address this concern of Shalini, that while social media holds a potential, or social media is an inclusive space, like there are manipulations, there are all these chances for people, like trying to directly or indirectly. So all these are just we don't know conjectures, or we don't know whether to call it like our speculations, maybe truths. So again, that is problematic. So there are chances, and these are being done also. Yes, there are definitely manipulations. There is a big chance that the corporates will influence or take over the opinions or tastes of people. Yes, we are being influenced by corporates, because we are everyday users of online applications. Not only online applications, what we wish for is we should have everything in our hands, and we are seeking something new, and that is what they want. And definitely the consumer culture is, again, it's there. So I think that is a major danger, or that is going to be a big challenge for social media. Did I answer you, Shalini, or did I comment on it?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you for elaborating upon it. I think it was actually a relevant addition
Yes.
to the talk. Thank you, ma'am.